I'm Kelly Vaughn, and welcome to Inside Indy. And we want to start this show off by thanking our military service veterans for their service. And this segment of the program is dedicated to helping our veterans. And here to help us do that is Tim Sproles, and you are Communications Director for the American Legion, Department of Indiana.
Absolutely.
Welcome to Inside Indy.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much for the invite.
Okay, now explain to people what the American Legion Department of Indiana is and what you do for veterans.
Well, the Department of Indiana, the American Legion is obviously nationwide, but each state and area has their own department.
Okay.
So we're the Indiana department. So we're kind of focused on helping Hoosier vets. Now, some of the things we do, the Department Service Office. Now, these guys are the rock stars of the Department of Indiana. Their goal is they meet with veterans, and they make sure that if they've applied for VA benefits, disability benefits, that kind of stuff, they kind of help them navigate through all that, make sure that they have all the benefits that they're entitled to.
Okay.
And there's a range of things. I'd probably say most of them deal with the VA disability benefits, but there's also education benefits. There's benefits to make sure that your loved ones are taken care of if something ever happens to the veteran themselves. So I mean, it's just a totally laundry list of things, and these our service officers are some of the best in the nation. I mean, when I say they're rock stars, I definitely mean it.
Okay.
But we also have assistance programs.
Okay.
We have the Temporary Financial Assistance Program. That's actually a national program. Now, what that is through grants, we're able to assist veterans, their families, to meet, if they have a bill they're behind on. I mean,
some kind of financial struggle?
Yeah, I mean, the cases are different, but we also have our Indiana version of that, IVETS.
IVETS, okay. And that is what?
That, it operates a lot like the TFA.
Okay.
But this one is just for Hoosier veterans.
Hoosiers only, okay.
Now, a difference between the two is the Temporary Financial Assistance, the national program. You have to have minors in the house. It has to be a household that has children. Okay. Now, with IVETS, you don't have to, that's not a parameter you have to meet. Okay. It could be single veteran or something if they're behind on the bills. Same thing, but it's just that minor difference. Make sure that we get that blanket of help. Okay.
So it sounds like, the veterans, they go and they serve our country, and they come home, and it's good to know that the brother and sisterhood have come together, and then, of course, under this umbrella, and that there is help available. So do you find that sometimes vets don't know that you're there for them?
I think so. In a perfect world, I mean, it makes it a little bit easier with digital technology, being able to reach people through Facebook. But I mean, like, you wish you could just have that face-to-face and handshake with every veteran in the state, but I mean, obviously that would be extremely difficult to do.
Okay. Now, what about those who are disabled? In fact, we just had people here from the Governor's Council on Disabilities here, and what are some of their concerns and issues, and how do you help in those areas for the disabled?
Well, obviously the big thing is those disability benefits. I mean, there's a lot of different programs out there. Some people might not be aware that, if you're medically retired from the military, you get benefits to help pay for your children's college. I mean, there's just so many benefits out there, and navigating all of them would be difficult by yourself.
Okay. Yeah, so it's making people aware of that. Now, a question just popped in my head. Some people become disabled as a result of serving. But what if a disability, you're a veteran and it happens later in life? Are you still entitled to certain benefits? You're still under that umbrella if something happens later in life? Because we just assume things happen when you're younger, and things can happen later.
It's when you kind of talk about that, I think it's more centered like in a case by case basis.
But again, you're there for people if they have that scenario that they can reach out to you and ask you. So how do people get in touch with you? And is there a center for that, or because I know you have posts? So is it about going to your post in your neighborhood or what's near you, or is it about a headquarters, someplace where you go to get these questions answered if you want to physically go somewhere?
I mean, really, you can go either way. We've got all our contact information on the website, but I would recommend hitting up your local post.
Okay.
They would have more kind of eyes on, like we have county service officers placed throughout the state, so maybe they would know exactly where to send you.
Okay.
And I mean, it's good just to, I mean, those local posts want to be a part of the community.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's one of the big things they try to do. So yeah, I would recommend drop it in and see what they have to say.
Okay. Now, how is all this funded though? Because I know the services are free, but who funds those services, and how does that happen?
Actually, the service office is actually funded by American Legion membership.
Oh, okay.
So that yearly due, it's split. Some of that goes to your home post, but some of it goes to the department, and a lot of that goes towards paying for the service office and making sure they're taken care of.
Do you have to be a veteran to be a part of, or to be an active member of a particular post?
Yeah, it's the American Legion is actually it's a war service, veteran service organization. So there's actually like windows of service that make you a qualifier for that, and we've actually got all that on our website. I can't rattle that off.
Okay.
But,
we'll have it on the screen there.
but yeah, there's specific windows of like overseas wars, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And then American Legion members fit in between those.
Okay, because I had been to the post, there's a post on like Dr. King Street and 24th somewhere, and I had been there, and I got the impression that members of the community who want to support their veterans can, I don't know, maybe you're an honorary member of some sort, or they can actually join, and they go down there just and mingle and be a part of that whole environment. And so that's why I was asking about, could people become, if they had not served, but they want to support the cause?
Yeah. There's actually American Legion. We're big on the American Legion family. Now, what that entails are Legionnaires, American Legion. We have the Sons of the American Legion, and we have the Women's Auxiliary.
Okay.
Now, the Sons of, if I wasn't a veteran myself and was a Legionnaire, I could join the Sons of the American Legion because of my grandfather's service.
Oh, okay.
My uncle's service. And then the Women's Auxiliary is the same. Like, if have a close family member that's in the service, you can join the Women's Auxiliary.
I got you. Okay.
And really, I mean, the caring for the vets is pretty much the centered goal of all three of those organizations.
Okay.
And we work together in everything. We have shared events, just kind of like a united family towards one goal.
I love it. I love it. You've got some youth programs coming up, some special stuff that's happening?
Absolutely. I wrote the dates down. I couldn't remember them off the top of my head.
Oh, that's okay. I got my notes too.
Now, this is exciting. This is going to be the first year that we've had the Indiana Youth Cadet Law Enforcement Academy. Now, what that's going to be is we've got a partnership with the Indiana Troopers Youth Services.
Okay.
And I mean, they are the pros as far as youth programs for high school age that are interested in going into law enforcement. So this will be our first joint venture with that. There's only 50 seats for this first class. We've got the registration deadline that's going to be on July 1st, 2018 this year. Okay. Now the actual camp that's going to be held at the University of Indianapolis, July 15th through the 20th. So I mean, it's a lot of people are excited about it. I'm excited to go out there and take some photos, check it out.
Okay.
And then, of course, we have Hoosier Boys State. That's going to be coming up in June. It's going to be the 17th through the 23rd. And they're going to have it way up north in Trine University in Angola.
Oh, wow, okay.
And I got to go and cover that event last year. You know, you're thinking, you know, it's just going to be like regular camp. But the whole purpose of that camp is to teach high school age young men how the government works. Like they have elections.
Oh, wow.
They elect a governor for Hoosier Boy State that year. They pass laws, write resolutions.
Okay, that's very good. I can think of a lot of people, me included, could use that. Because a lot of times you grow up in it and you're like, you really don't know exactly how it works. You get the gist of it, but not necessarily like, that's cool. That's very cool. Okay. So how do people sign up for that?
You can sign up for either program on our website.
On your website. Okay. Okay. How can people help and support what you do?
I mean, whether you're a veteran or not, like it kind of goes back to, I'd drop into the local Post. I'd see what the Post is doing, and I mean, they're going to have a pulse on the surrounding community. You know, what veterans of the community who would need help. There's volunteer opportunities through that Post, through the department, but obviously we'll take. You can make monetary donations to. Temporary Financial Assistance Fund or IVETS to help local veterans in their time of need. But just either picking up a phone or just drop by and saying hey to the Legionnaires. Okay,
you'll be dropping by and saying hey to Tim Sproles, Communications Director for the American Legion, Department of Indiana. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
On Inside Indy. And when we come back, we'll be talking about the fact that it's Fair Housing Month in Indiana when we come back. And we're back here on Inside Indy. And I don't know if you were aware of this, but April is Fair Housing Month. And I know you're going, what does that really mean, Kelly? Well, we have somebody in the studio who's going to tell us what it means and more, and to help you know your housing rights. And she's Leslie Gordon. Leslie is the Deputy Director of External Affairs with the Indiana Civil Rights Commission. Hi, Leslie.
Hello, Kelly.
Okay, Fair Housing Month. What's that really mean?
Yeah, so we're really excited. It has a lot of meanings this year. So Fair Housing Month is a time the Civil Rights Commission and other housing authorities take a special interest in heightening awareness on your housing rights.
Okay.
So April was when the Federal Fair Housing Month or Federal Fair Housing Act was signed. So that gave equal rights to everyone to have housing, whether your race, your disability, gender, familial status, any of those protected classes allowed you to choose where you wanted to live. And that had been something that wasn't allowed in our history.
Isn't that crazy? Because when I think about the classes you talk about, are those the protected classes you speak of? Okay, so there was a time when there were no protections regarding race and gender and familial status.
Yep. And
wow.
Disability. So people could discriminate, and they could make neighborhoods and apartments exclusive to whatever they would like. And so once this act went into place 50 years ago, this month, it allowed there to be an equal opportunity for you to live where you wanted.
So I'm trying to take my mind back to, say, 50 years ago, what that might look like. So would that be, I couldn't necessarily move into a particular neighborhood, and then what might happen in that case? Like, because today you go get a mortgage, you find a house, you go. What might have happened in those scenarios back then?
Yeah, so, and then it's actually, because it still happens now,
okay,
it's kind of interesting to blur those lines, and it's interesting you say that. So 50 years ago, actually a week before the Federal Fair Housing Act was signed, was the assassination of Dr. King. So you're looking at the heart of the civil rights movement, segregation, Jim Crow, a lot of those residual effects and I mean, really impacting housing. So you might go into a neighborhood, there might be a sign that says, you know, no blacks. There might be someone that tells you if you have kids, you can't live in this area. No ramps for access for people with wheelchairs.
That's more recent than even
right. So it's changed quite a bit, but it's still happening, and it's becoming not as blatant, but we're still seeing blatant things.
So this is a question then, Leslie. How is it happening now that there are laws that say you can't do that? And so if it is happening, how are they getting by with it?
Yeah, so that's what we're here for. So one of the things that we're seeing is people have to report it. And housing discrimination, while it's our second most reported enforcement area, I think there's a stat out there that says 90% of housing discrimination goes unreported. So that's why we're here, letting people know their rights, letting them know there are protections. If you have a service animal, if you have a wheelchair, if you have children under 18 and can only afford a certain size apartment, they have to talk to you before there is a blatant no, or they have to work with you to find the right space for you.
Wow. So I take it then, on either side, there could be people who don't know they're being discriminated, and there may be some people who don't know they're discriminating.
Exactly, and that is another reason the Indiana Civil Rights is here, because we educate. So we understand that a lot of people don't know their rights. The Indiana Code is not a attractive book to read.
I wouldn't want to read that at bedtime.
So we like to go around and we do things like this. We go to community centers. We bring complaints to the community where you don't necessarily have to go downtown to file a complaint. And we work around the state to make it available to you to learn what those rights are, whether you're a housing provider or someone that works in the industry or someone who is just looking for a place to stay.
So give us an example of someone who maybe who doesn't realize they're being discriminated against. So then I'd like one where a person is doing it and they don't realize it, because I would think when these people are claims are filed against them, they probably are like, what are you talking about? But let's talk first about those who are experiencing discrimination, and especially something that's tricky. Maybe even the average person, we'd be duped as well. So
every case is different, and we want to stress that. Every case is on a case-by-case basis. So there are some things that we see trends in, but overall, we just ask you to call. If you have that feeling that something just isn't right, to give us a call. But some things with housing we've noticed is when a family comes in, they might say, oh, well, let me show you the places by the playground. And you might think, oh, I have children. That's a really, thoughtful thing, but it could be steering. And they could very steering. So you should be able to live, whether you want to live near the playground, away from it, upstairs, downstairs. That's not necessarily for them to direct you to.
Okay, now why would somebody discriminate against you having children? What is, and again, we're talking about what people who are selling homes, apartments. Why would that be a bad thing? What's in their minds, or some?
And it's hard to say what's in particular people's minds, but there are some areas that associate multiple children with a certain socioeconomic status, a certain race, or they don't want to have that many occupants in an apartment, and they want to use that as a way to not have them. Maybe they geared toward a more affluent or a certain age group in their area, and they want to keep it that way.
Wow. Okay. And that's kind of hard in my mind to process, because I can kind of relate to, I wouldn't want to discriminate, but we do know that kids can tear your stuff up. I don't know. What? Is that just,
Kelly.
I don't have anything that I've written, so we don't have, but no.
And I think that's why it's important for people to understand what those rights are and what you can't do, or why you should engage in the dialogue and understanding.
On TV, right?
Right. Just understanding your neighbors, and I think just adding that human aspect to it, and realizing that it's not always someone's, don't have bad intentions.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest thing that we're noticing. And one of the remedies, so it's what we do is we work with each side and we will mediate. as well. So just because you've had a complaint filed against you or you file a complaint doesn't necessarily mean it will go all the way through court or that there'll be monetary remedies. A lot of times the mediation will come out that we're just posting signage, doing education, training employees so that they know what should be said and how to say it and how to engage in that conversation.
Okay. So give us a scenario then of a person who is renting a property and something they might do that we'd be blindsided by, like, I had no idea.
Yeah, I think the most common one is service animals. It can be so, and I think the best way, I heard a really great analogy from our administrative law judge. He said you have to take service animals with a person with disabilities as their equipment. So for you to say that you have breed restrictions and someone's service animal fits that realm, and for you to automatically deny them or not take them further in the process can be one of those where you just are like, oh no, we just don't allow those breeds, but it's actually something that you need to look into because it might be discrimination. Okay,
wow. It is a lot to think about. And of course, you know, anything dealing with things that are legal, I know, just wear my brain out anyway. So I can't even imagine. So
you're not alone. You're not alone in that.
So how do we go about reporting if we do experience something, or maybe we're just not sure, we'd like to find out whether it is, which probably should be the way to approach it, to have an open mind, because I would think sometimes people think, I know I was discriminated against, and they weren't.
Exactly. And so again, that goes to that case-by-case basis. But we have 3 ways you can file a complaint with the Civil Rights Commission. You can give us a call. Our number is 317-232-2600. Or you can find an online complaint form on our website, which is www.in.gov/ICRC. Or you can give us a visit. We are located in the Government Center North, just downtown, and you can pay our office a visit, talk to someone real time, and they can write that complaint down and take you through the process.
Wow, okay. And no cost to do that?
No cost. We really work to provide our services free of charge, especially in that filing that complaint and going through the process, because as you said, it can be exhausting. And it's not a quick process. We definitely expedite as many things as we can and help you work through it, but it's not something that's going to happen overnight when you file a complaint. So we may do that free of charge for you.
Okay. So it's been a month-long celebration for you, and I saw something on your calendar about a game or something. What's the game?
Yes, so one of the things about Fair Housing Month is it happens all the time, not just in this month. So we're excited to launch a interactive game, kind of first person. So some of those scenarios you mentioned, it'll take you through some, and you'll be able to decide, how would you answer this question? Do you think is that a legitimate question to answer? If you do answer it, what it means and what their response is. And so you kind of get to feel that discrimination firsthand. And so it's hopefully a little more identifiable, and it'll be a training tool that we'll use, and we hope.
So is that online, or how do you?
It will be on our website, and then we hope to bring it. We're going to go to some schools, and again, it'll be part of our training when we go out into the community.
Okay, I think that's really clever, and it makes people think it through, because when you become a part of that experience, you're more likely to retain it. When you do file, at least to find out whether you were discriminated, what's the length of that whole process? And is it a tedious process?
That's a great question. So there are some stipulations. So for housing discrimination, you have to file the complaint within a year of the incident at hand.
Good to know.
So as long as you file it within that year, we can take it within our jurisdiction to take that complaint and take you through the process if we find that it fits those points that say it's been discrimination. And then it'll go to investigation. And the investigators have, let me get this right, but they have a few months to investigate it. So they have a time frame in which they're allowed to do that. So there's some waiting there, and then there is an administrative law judge if it goes to that, or you can choose mediation if that's an option to where we bring both parties together and find some of those remedies that will meet that.
So to file a complaint or to consider one, it's on your screen how to do that. Leslie Gordon, Deputy Director of External Affairs, the Indiana Civil Rights Commission. Tell Greg Wilson we said hello, and thank you for being here on Inside Indy.
Thanks for having us, Kelly.
All right, and thank you for joining us. I'm Kelly Vaughn. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.